I'm Rosalind. Thank you if you're returning, and if you're new, welcome. I kind of just talk about anything, basically, whatever is on my mind. So lately, I've been struggling with something. Okay, so I follow a handful of astrologers and spiritual, gurus or light workers. And I've been getting similar messages that haven't been sitting with me very well. Like, I just watched a recent video, and this guy, he's super spiritual, right? He's I'm gonna say pretty advanced. He stated something. He said, well, why does it matter who becomes president and when November comes? Like, it doesn't affect you in your own internal life, so why do you care? Some like, well, why do I care? I mean, there's lots of reasons why I care. I mean, does it affect me like my immediate home life? No, and I'm gonna say it probably doesn't. But with everything that's been going on in the world, I get that these things were already there. It's just highlighted more under this administration, and people are a lot braver because they feel like they're being supported to behave a certain way that they probably wouldn't have before. Just because it doesn't affect me or my immediate circle, like we're not in pain, we're not going through any major hardships, doesn't mean that I don't care about other people and what they're going through. So I've been really struggling with that, because a lot of people are saying in their spiritual community to just focus on yourself and your own environment and not get lost in the 3D reality. Like, when you're going through your spiritual journey, you're supposed to not be judgmental, which that I agree with. To be more accepting and compassionate towards others, that I also agree with. When we get to this enlightenment, like this awareness, right? Like the Dalai Lama, we learn how not to immerse ourselves with everything that goes on in the world. And I agree. Okay, I agree that we should not let the darkness that is a part of the 3D reality consume us. That I know for a fact, because I've gone through that. I used to be very involved in the world, very much just, I felt everything. I felt the pain. I felt the hurt and the anger and just the cruelness that goes on in the world. And I felt it very deeply. And it wasn't good for me, because I myself had my own issues internally and in my own life that I had to deal with. So that altogether, it was just not a healthy thing. So I understand when people in the spiritual community say that you need to go within and focus on yourself and level up your own frequency. I believe that. If you're not good, if you haven't handled your own traumas in your own life, like you're always going to be triggered when things happen outside of you. You're going to be triggered, and you're going to react to everything, and just being like a roller coaster, up and down roller coaster. That's how your life's going to be, and that's how my life was. So on that note, like, I get it, right? Not to get too consumed, and we shouldn't get too consumed, okay? first and foremost, I believe that we should work on ourselves. Your childhood traumas, things you have gone through as a teenager, even as an adult, we've all gone through things. And a lot of us like to suppress the pain, like to numb ourselves. It always comes back up. So there's really no point in it. You should just deal with it. Like, deal with your past. Deal with things that are still hurting you, things that you're still holding on to, resentment. Those things you need to force yourself to heal, to go through and heal. I was listening to a new episode by Tim Ferriss' podcast, and he did the ayahuasca, right? And he had some memories from his childhood, from like 2 to 4, where he was molested, and he didn't remember, until he actually did that, and then all that was brought back up. And you may be wondering, like, why would you want to remember something so horrible? Well, it actually has helped him figure out why he is the way he is. Like, there are traits about him that he just didn't understand. He was struggling with things through his whole life. He just didn't know why. And now he knows. So now he's in his healing process. I'll link that podcast below if you guys want to hear it. There are a lot of great tools on there, for anybody who has gone through any kind of like sexual trauma. It's not new. It happens. What were they saying? 1 out of 3 girls experience sexual abuse, 1 out of 6 boys, but it's probably more than that for boys. Boys just don't like to talk about it. Men don't want to talk about it. So the numbers are probably even higher for boys, just as much as they are girls. But that's so normal. It's so common, and it's just something that we have to deal with, just like everything else. Growing up, and when we all don't come from happy homes, but there's something to learn. There's something to learn with everything hard that we go through. There really is a purpose, and if you're brave enough to face it and go through it and work with yourself, you're just gonna come out on the other side a stronger, wiser, better, more loving, compassionate person. So although I don't want to get stuck in 3D, because my journey is to get to somewhat of a 5D stage in my life, at least before I die. I would like to. I can't just spiritually bypass everything that goes on in the world. I mean, for some, maybe it works for you. Maybe your blueprint in this life is to just focus on yourself and your own spiritual growth and healing your own traumas, and that is your focus in this life. But I really think that we all come here with a different blueprint, a different mission. Some of us may have maybe even past life trauma that we've brought here, and maybe your mission is to be a good parent. Maybe you were a sucky parent in a past life, and maybe now your mission is to be a good parent. Maybe your mission is to help people financially. Maybe you have a gift, right? Help people financially, help them with their finances, and help them realize that the universe is abundant and everybody can tap into it. And maybe your mission is like AOC. You're in the political field, and people in the spiritual community like kind of frowned upon political activists, and it's like for a minute I kind of like listened. I was like, okay, being political and getting really into it makes me feel angry, makes me mad. So I totally shut everything out. Okay, after the 2016 election, I just totally just like, forget this, forget the government and forget everything external, which was good because it actually turned the tables. Like, for me not to fixate on the outside, I started just working on myself and the inside. And so I guess during that time, it worked for me. It was good for me. It was beneficial. But now I feel like I'm in a place where like I've done a lot of healing and I've done a lot of growing, where it's like, okay, so what now? What is my message? What is my purpose now? And that's what I've been struggling with this past month. You know, like, I want to say things, like I want to speak up, but at the same time I'm like, but these spiritual people are telling me like, don't get too consumed, don't get wrapped up in it. Like it really doesn't affect your immediate environment, so don't get so wrapped up in that. Like, basically just don't care and just focus on your spiritual growth. So that's where I've been, just back and forth. Like, I care and I want to speak out and say stuff, and then this side is like, don't. You're getting trapped in the 3D matrix. But I was reading some comments on one of the YouTube videos where the guy was saying, you know, why do you care who's president? And I was like, I can't be the only spiritual person who cares. So let me look at some of these comments 4 weeks later. Last night I found some comments, and there are actually people who are spiritual who do feel the way that I feel. You know, when we get wrapped up in things outside of ourselves, there is a way to go about it. Like, we don't have to be petty. We don't have to insult people. We don't have to come from a judgmental position. There's a difference. There's a difference with being on the lower levels of 3D and being on the higher 4D, 5D level. Okay? So I can be spiritual and still care about who is president. I can be spiritual and still care about things that happen outside of me. Like, I care about what's going on at the border. I care about the wage gap. I care about the whole, I don't want to say it's Me Too, because it's not just women, because there are men and boys as well that have gone through these things. But we all know that women have had a lot harder, you know, when it comes to things like that. I care about their environment. Abraham Hicks, who I love, her perspective is the earth is going to be fine. Like, don't worry so much about climate change. The earth is going to rejuvenate itself like it always has. And I do believe that. Like, it's going to. I mean, dinosaurs and everything else that has lived upon earth and everything that's happened, earth has always you know what I mean. But that doesn't mean that we should just contribute to destruction. Earth is going to continue and it will be fine, but at the expense of our wildlife being killed off, right? You know, the forests and just everything that we're losing. Look at the wildfires that are going on in California. It's gotten worse and worse. And the floods. It'll get better on its own, yes, but it's at the expense of everything that's on it. So if we can, I don't think we can completely stop what's going on, but we can maybe stop the rate at how fast it's going, or maybe we can alter the course of it. Because I mean, I'm not going to live forever, obviously, but I will have grandkids and great grandkids, and if I can alter their course, I would really like to. So, yeah, these things I care about, and I think I've officially decided that just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you have to bypass everything that goes on in the world. We come down to earth. Every single one of us has a specific blueprint and our own mission, our own soul path that we're here to follow. So if you're like me, if going through what I'm going through, this message is really directed towards you guys. Like, I've been struggling with this, and I've come to the conclusion that it's good to care. It's good. But first and foremost, when you go through your spiritual journey, please work on yourself first. Once you feel like, you know, you're good, like you're in a good place, you can really start to think about, okay, like, what is my purpose now? What am I supposed to be doing? So now that I'm at that point where I was like, okay, like, what is the point now? With everything that has gone on in 2020 and everything that I've been going through these past few years, what have I learned? And what do I want going forward? Who do I want to become? I think we have a knowing inside of ourselves. We already know deep inside ourselves that we're here for a purpose. And it just takes some time to figure out, and you may change your mind. Because sure, I'm so indecisive, it's ridiculous. I go back and forth so much in so many things. But I think all the craziness in 2020 has helped me so much. And now I'm finally getting like a clarity. And it's weird, right? So much chaos brings so much clarity at the same time. Anyways, so that's what I've been struggling with, and now that I've come to a conclusion, I wanted to get on here and share that, yes, I'm gonna repeat myself again, being spiritual doesn't mean you have to bypass everything that goes on in the world. And if that works for you, then great. But for those of us who want to make a difference, who want to help fix some of the darkness that's going on in the 2-day reality, like, it's okay. I think the point is for us to try to stay emotionally, mentally, physically in the 5D frequency, right? Where we're compassionate, where our anger doesn't mean we have to insult and fight and lash out. Our anger can be fueled towards action, positive action. We can be more understanding of both sides, right? Because there is always going to be duality. I was listening to Michelle Obama, and she's been depressed right, with what's going on with the whole Black Lives Movement. But she also said that there's a reason why these people, these children, these adults think the way they do, right? Why there is racism. Like, you weren't born to hate Black people and born to hate people, period. But you've been conditioned by your parents, your family, your environment to feel the way you do. All this shit was taught. We didn't go to the birth canal and was like, hey, I'm going to be a racist. We didn't do that. So she was saying, try to understand why. Why do they feel that way? Be compassionate. Have an open dialogue. You know, we shouldn't just jump down people's throat for how they feel, what they believe, because really, like I said, all that has been learned behavior. So we should be open-minded and keep an open dialogue and try to understand them. And just, if anything, I feel bad that you have so much hate for people you don't even know. I mean, you may have your reasons because I experienced this with this person, or, I think that they commit tons of crimes, and statistics show that, minorities, blacks, right, commit the most crimes, or blah, 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 whatever. But if you really want to understand, you would look into it and why are the things that have happening. Like, again, I don't know, some people were born evil, probably, but a lot of people just have endured years and years and decades of pain. So that is, I believe, like the 5D aura, like the presence of living in that 5-3 vibration, is to try to be compassionate, and just not judge and criticize and shun people. The mob mentality, like the witch hunt, cancel culture crap, whatever is kids call it nowadays, I don't know. Like, being involved in stuff like that, I believe that's the lower 3D spiritual crap that you want to get out of. Being in 5D, I believe, is where we just embody love and light. That's what we do. We embody love and light, and our sole mission is to lift up humanity together, because we're all connected. As cliche as it sounds, we are connected. We are one. We come from the same source, and I think that is the point. I think that is for me to spread the message, to let you guys know, like, as sucky as things may seem, and how divided we are, like, we are each other's keepers. Listen to that podcast. I'll link that, the Michelle Obama podcast, on here too. And I love that about her, to be able to weigh out both sides and put herself in the shoes of different people. And I believe that AOC is someone that's like that as well, where she's all about just doing the right thing, being fair. And she, like the video that I posted before this, like the snippet of her on the Senate floor, right? How she's like speaking for all women, Trump supporter or not, she's speaking for all women, regardless of your beliefs or what side you may lie on. And I admire that. I admire, that they can do that. That they can be that way, and I strive to be that way. To listen to both sides. I may have been very judgmental or more critical in the past, and I would get angry and lash out, like, why don't you care? But I've done lots of growing since then. So yep, that's it. So that's what I wanted to share today, and I hope that you guys take something from this. You know, and if you're, like I said, if you're struggling with what direction to take as far as, you know, speaking up and not speaking up, what's right and wrong as far as being spiritual, I'm gonna say just listen to your intuition. Listen to your heart. Not what I say or what anybody else says. I mean, you can learn a lot from other people, yes, and you can pick apart what resonates with you most. But in the end, listen to yourself and how you feel and what feels right for you. And it's okay to change your mind. Nothing wrong with it. It's a part of growth. With that being said, I am going to let you guys let you guys go now. I hope you're all doing well. Have a great week ahead. Today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday. So I don't even know what the days are like anymore. Every day is kind of the same, kind of, right? Like time doesn't really exist so much anymore. The days, I mean, yeah. But my routines have gotten better, that's for sure. I'm sticking with them. I think I'm doing pretty well. Anyways, that's it. So I will talk to you guys again real soon. Okay, take care. And thank you so much for stopping by.